And we are rolling. Tonight, we will hopefully be getting better than a 70% pick rate, as that is what I got in the last event, which was UFC 325 Volkanovski versus Lopez. Of course, we did choose Alexander Volkanovski. As we move on to this week's card, which is actually tomorrow, it is UFC Fight Night. Bautista versus Oliveira. This is on the 7th. This is the first Fight Night event of the year. For those that don't know, I'm Coin. I've watched the UFC for a very long time now, over 12 years, and I built this website, mintedmma.com. Welcome into my picks and predictions. I also have a free written review right here. If you want to peruse it, check it out. As we get back into the actual card, we have 13 of 13 picks, and as you can see, you can already see my picks. We're gonna go into the list view and move on from bottom to top, from the bottom to the top like this. There are also canceled bouts down here, so some of these bouts have changed, like Javid Basharat right here is actually fighting someone else tonight, who which is good for making picks, to know stuff like that. As we get into this, the first fight of the card, it's Priscila Cachoeira versus Klaudia Syguła. And of course, I'm gonna have to go with our girl here, Klaudia, because as we can see from her record, she's like kind of a newbie, 7-2. She's fighting out of Poland, but if you check it out, she did beat Irina Alexeyeva, and like, I think that's a decent win, even though she's not that good. She's 5-4, but just because a woman is 5-4 doesn't mean she's like the most terrible fighter. Okay, that's a woman's record. It's a woman's record. It's fine to have basically a matching, a matching record, like 5-4. It's okay. But I think when it comes to her defeating Irina, I think that's a good thing, even though she got KO'd in her UFC debut. But like, I don't know, I just don't think that her opponent Priscila is that good, even though she is kind of the veteran between these two in this bout. Because if you look at her record here, yes, I mean, you can see she's fought some tough competition. Jocelyn Edwards, Josiane Nunes, Jasmine Jez the Vicious, Ariane, and this was a good win as well. I think Ariane Lipski de Silva, she's not that bad of a fighter, and it would make sense for Priscila to kind of win, but I don't know. I just don't think she's that good of a fighter. She's losing to Molly McCann, that was okay like 5-6 years ago at this point, but it makes sense, Valentina. But yeah, she's fought tough competition, and that's what she has going for her. But she's 37 years old. She has a shorter reach. I think she's just going to get outplayed by the younger fighter in Klaudia Syguła. As we move on up the card to Muin Gafurov versus Jakub Wiklacz. Wiklacz. However the heck you pronounce these gosh darn Polish names. Gosh darn. Yeah, I'm picking Muin Gafurov, even though he's a fatty. He weighed in at 141 pounds for this bout, and this is a 135-pound bout, dog. What the heck are you doing at 141? 141. Every pound matters. Every pound matters, man. You get a 1 pound allowance, you should be weighing in at 136. Don't forget to hydrate your mouth with appropriate liquids. As we check out the records and why I'm picking him, he's fought tough competition. He beat a couple of Japanese people, one Japanese person, I guess, right there. Yeah, he's been in the UFC for a little bit longer, because Wiklacz is he just fought Patchy Mix, and I actually thought he lost that fight. It was a split decision with Patchy Mix. What is something wrong with this? Let me refresh real quick. Yeah, there it is. So Patchy Mix, split decision with Patchy Mix. I don't know. Like, that's not really I mean, like, it's good. It's good for him, right? But like, I thought he lost, and he's like a newbie. Even though he's 17-3, he's never fought in the UFC other than Patchy Mix, and Patchy Mix is not a UFC fighter because Patchy Mix has never won in the UFC. That is kind of my criteria on being a UFC fighter. If you look at Patchy Mix, when has he ever won in the UFC? Never. Freaking Bellator. He's a Bellator boy. You know, he's never won in the UFC. He's not a UFC fighter, despite having fought in the UFC. Except maybe when he retires in the future, you can say, yeah, he was a UFC fighter. I think that's fine, but we're talking about, like, picks here. We're talking about in the context of making picks. This dude's not a UFC fighter. Don't ever freaking pick Patchy Mix, my guy. No, or girl. You know, there are some ladies that watch, actually. Shout out. actually several, which is cool. But because this is an MMA community, which is crazy that there are women here. Get out of here, women. I'm joking. Anyway, as we move on up the card to a women's bout, look at the synchronicities of the universe. I didn't plan that shit. I don't plan nothing, man. I just talk shit and probably make things worse for myself. We have Cong Wang versus Eduarda Moura. And if you look at Eduarda Moura's record, 12-1 is pretty legit, I would say. And she's 31 years old. But I'm picking Cong Wang, and I'll tell you why after this sip. Yeah, so in this flyweight bout, I'm choosing Cong Wang because she has somewhat more of an upward trajectory. She did miss weight. I believe both these girls missed weight. 127. I believe that's right. Let me look real quick at my my written breakdown. I wrote it down right up in there. Did they both miss weight? Yeah, 127.5 pounds and 127 pounds respectively for Cong Wang versus Eduarda Moura. Yeah, terrible. Freaking fatties, but I mean, you know, it's not as bad as Muin Gafurov in the last bout. That freaking fat bastard. My God, I'm picking him. But, you know, statistically, people that are fat, people that miss weight, statistically win more often. But the thing with these two is, like, they both missed weight. So it's like, kind of cancels that out, right? And we look at their records, and she's beat, you know, decent girls. I think Bruna Brazil's better than we're thinking she is. She's also the underdog tonight in her fight. We'll talk about her later. This girl that we're talking about right now, Cong Wang, defeated Ariane Lipsky, and, you know, she hasn't been in the UFC for that long, but she's from China. Like, ni hao ma. I don't know why I said hi. Oh no, that's Japanese. Hi, arigatou gozaimasu. Ni hao ma. Wa lao chi bai. I know these freaking languages. Kinda, you know. But anyway, she's from China. She has just upward trajectory compared to Eduarda. And she's older, interestingly. She's a couple of years older. I thought she was like 1 year younger. But she is also, she has 1 inch reach shorter. 1 inch shorter reach does Cong Wang have against Eduarda Moura, who's 12-1. And I think her record actually is pretty good, because if you look at her, she comes out of the Contender Series, then she defeats Montserrat Conejo Ruiz, who is not that good, but it's a good win. It's always good to win by KO. And then she defeats, or she loses a splitty to Denise Gomes, who's pretty good. Gomes is good, so losing a split decision to her is not that bad. You know, losing's not good, but it's not so bad that it's a split. And then Veronica Hardy's decent. Lauren Murphy, even though she's like an old crack whore. Sorry. Apologize. She's not a whore. But she looks like she's on crack and she looks old. It's like, she's not a bad fighter, Lauren Murphy. I think that's a good win. Like, anytime you beat up Lauren Murphy, it's like, legit girl. Good girl. Who's a good girl? That's you, girl. That's you, Eduarda Moura. And that's why I'm thinking she can win for sure, because she does have like some good fights under her belt. In fact, better wins. Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're pretty well matched. These two. So I'm going with Cong Wang, and I believe she's the underdog in this bout tonight. But I'm sticking with her as we move on up the card to Javid Basharat versus Gianni Vazquez. As I mentioned earlier, this was a canceled bout with Said Nurmagomedov, who was meant to fight Javid, and this is Gianni Vazquez stepping in on short notice, and I believe this kid is gonna get beat the heck up. Kind of. Is this right? Javid lost twice? No, I think that's right. Yeah, let's look at it. Here's the canceled bout as well on his fighter page, mintedmma.com. Check it out. It's live already. It's always in active development, but it's live, baby. We live. Yeah, Ricky Bobby, Ricky Simon, Ayman Zahabi. You know, those losses make sense. So, yeah. I mean, he has the experience, does Javid Basharat, fighting out of Afghanistan. And he also, I think he's the bigger man, and then also like Gianni's just fighting bums and bum leagues. Look at this crap. Who the heck is he? He's winning against bums, dog. And the only person he's losing against is a freaking good, decent guy that's in the UFC now. But they didn't fight in the UFC when this happened a couple of years ago there. With Edgar Chires. Don't forget to hydrate. It's very difficult to not stutter when your mouth's real dry. But yeah, that's why I'm choosing Javid. Like, it just makes sense. Like, he was about to fight Said. I would have picked Said Nurmagomedov. He's like one of the faker Nurmagomedovs. He's not like the related one. It's just a common name. So but he's good. He's a good Nurmagomedov still. I mean, the name still. I think he represents the name well. So I'm picking Javid. Not much to say. What I say about this bout in the written breakdown, I kind of want to mention just in case what I say. Where we at? Javid right here. Anyone has a fighting chance once that octagon's cage doors lock. This matchup came to being because Said Nurmagomedov pulled out, having random non-UFC fighter Gianni Vazquez take his spot. This guy did go to a split decision with David Martinez and won. That's why I wanted to read this. I forgot about that. And he won in the splitty against David Martinez. He beat David Martinez. David Martinez not bad, you know, but that was nearly 5 years ago, as I say right there in the written breakdown. And we move on up the card to Bruna, Brazil versus Ketlen, Souza. Now, this one was a hard one to choose, and I'm pretty sure I keep closing the, I didn't close the tab. I'm pretty sure I said it here as well. Based on the records, you think that Ketlen would take it. She's a slight favorite, and I was leaning toward her until I started typing this out. I think Bruna Brazil is good. Her length will keep Ketlen at bay, and I could see Ketlen outgrinding Bruna, though, the entire time. Like, so it can go either way. I think I can see either Bruna just standing out, like kind of picking Ketlen from the outside, maybe not picking her apart, but like just hitting her and playing the game, you know, like Wonderboy Thompson kind of game. When he doesn't get the knockouts, he just kind of tip tap, hop, hop, you know, with his feet as well. I can't kick. I'm gonna kick the screen. But with Ketlen, he's like a grinder. She's a hustler. I do think tough fighters and being tough, and also, again, veteranship. I always mention veteranship. She has more fights in the UFC than Bruna Brazil, right? Does she? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's look at Bruna Brazil. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same. Okay. Well, they have the same, but I think Ketlen has... Yeah, I mean, like, she's fought Angela Hill to a splitty, Piera Rodriguez. Piera, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, Yasmin Uruguay, good win, I suppose, kind of. I mean, yeah, that's why I don't really have that much faith in Ketlen, is because, like, her record's not that great, even though I do think she's kind of a hustler. I mean, she has 8 KOs on her record. I think she could outgrind Bruna the entire time. That can happen, but at the same time, I'm thinking that Bruna's just gonna kind of play the game and come out with like a well-earned, well-deserved victory. As we move on up the card to Nikolay Veretennikov versus Niko Price. Look at that, 2 Nikos. Interesting, huh? This is also a belt replacement because I believe, let's see here actually. Well, we can scroll down. Right down here. Where is it at? Yeah, Nikolay was supposed to fight someone else, Jose. So that's something to note when you're making picks, as I said earlier, because Niko Price is a short notice replacement, and Niko Price is chinny. He's a chinny boy. He's a chinny boy, that man. They're both, he's 36, right? I think they're both 36 years old. Okay. He ain't a boy. He's a man then. Alright then, man. Goddamn. He's old though. You know what I'm saying? But they're both the same age. Niko does have the experience. He's been in the UFC way more, but he's been knocked the heck out way more. 5 times versus what? 2 times? And I don't know. Like, Punahele played the game. He wrestled Nikolay in that last bout, and Nikolay's like kind of a dum-dum. I think even Niko might be smarter than Nikolay, which is crazy to think of. It's insane. Oh man. But I just think like Niko's too chinny, and he might be better overall, but I don't think he's gonna get Nikolay out of there. And he's not, you know, I mean, just look at his record. He just going on loss. Yeah, so that's why I'm not choosing Niko. This is more against choosing against Niko than it is choosing whoever the heck this guy is. But yeah, we move on up the card to Alex Morono versus Daniil Donchenko. And I think Alex Morono, as I mentioned in my written breakdown, as much as I like to praise veteranship, and we already have throughout this breakdown, these predictions, like when a fighter has a lot of fights under their belt, I like that kind of veteranship. Alex Morono seems like he broke and can't fix himself. He seems like he broke. Alex Morono seems like he broke. I guess I kind of typo there. I think I'm probably going to leave it. He seemed like he broke and can't fix himself. See? If you just add a little bit of ghetto to it, it sounds right. So yeah, I just think Alex, something happened to him, man. You know, I don't know. Like, I never thought he was like a bad fighter. I still don't. I think he's a decent fighter, but he's one of those guys that he fought his way into becoming a fighter so hard that it fought the fight out of him. You know what I mean? You know exactly what I mean by it. He's just an old, raggedy, tired ass. He's tired, man. He's done. Let's look at his record. I mean, look at his last 6. Yeah, that's 4 out of his last 6. This man lost. He's 24-12. It's like, you gonna win this time or you gonna lose this time? It depends. It freaking depends, man. You know? Just like, yeah, and he's losing to bums, dog. I mean, they're not bums. I mean, but he also lost to Niko Price, of all people, who's super chinny. It's like, you just gotta touch Niko one time. You just gotta slap him even, and Niko's going down. He's almost like on, maybe not quite, but, you know, like James Vick level, where he just gets touched up, just a little boop, and he freaking lights out. Yeah, so if you can't even get out a guy like that, Alex, the Great White Morono, I think I'm gonna go with the guy fighting out of Ukraine, Daniil Donchenko, and he's 24, man. He's young and he's hungry and he's winning. You know, I think he wins it via round 1 KO. As we move on up the card to a light heavyweight bout in Dustin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. Now, Dustin is like a solid man. Like, he's like so he's 37 though. That's the downside. He's 21-9. He has a lot of experience, this man. But look at that. He got knocked out by Dominic Reyes, of all people, man. I know everybody say he the Dominator and stuff like that. But like, this was when Dominic was done. This was when Dominic was freaking already out of here, man. Dominic didn't even get any wins after this, I don't think, after he knocked this fool out. So it's like, I mean, he got caught, right? It happens. You can get caught. I don't know if that's what happened technically. I don't remember how the fight went. I don't know if he just got caught, because round 1, 2 minutes. Yeah, I guess he probably could have just got caught. But from what I'm remembering, probably Dominic was like, I don't know, he was just leading him into that knockout the whole time. I feel like that's what probably happened, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. But I do think that he has way more experience than Julius Walker, and he could probably play the game. He's a strong man, is Dustin. But I think I'm going to go with Julius Walker just because he's younger, he's hungrier, and he did not have that, he did not have a impressive performance against, what's his name, Alonzo Menefield, split decision, who I think, what's his name, beat, right? Dustin Jacoby beat Alonzo Menefield via decision. But I mean, styles make matchups, right? And I think that this guy's going to make up for his last kind of performances, because he just got a decision against this Rafael Cerqueira guy, and he's gonna make it up. He's gonna KO Dustin. He's gonna clip him quick, just like Dominic Reyes did. If Dominic can do it, you can do it too. I believe in it. Like, anybody can do it if Dominic can, man. As we move on up the card to Gene Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat, one of the two Basharat brothers, the second in fact. And interestingly, they have a similar record, but this one's undefeated at 14-0. The other one has 14-2. But this one is fighting a young boy named Gene. Hai, arigato gozaimasu Matsumoto. Fighting out of Brasil. Obrigado, Brasil. But yeah, they have, like, you know, the mixtures of Japanese. Oops, you're not supposed to say that, right? Japanese and Brazilians, right? And he's one of the Brazilian ones. I don't know what my point was. But anyway, he's 17-1 as Gene, and he lost against Rob Font in a fight that everybody thought he was gonna show Font up, and Font messed the boy up. From what I remember, it was a split decision from what we're seeing here, but that's 2 splitties out of 4 career UFC fights for this boy. 2 split, and a split with Miles Johns. I mean, Miles is a solid guy. He's solid, but it's like, split, man? No, man. You're supposed to beat him up like he's a punching bag, my guy, and you're not doing that? You ain't gonna win against the veteran in Farid Basharat, who's undefeated. He has a lesser record in the sense of less fights, but he has way more UFC fights, as you can, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have the same amount of UFC fights. The brothers confuse me because, you know, they're combined. It's 2 Basharats. Anytime you hear Basharat, it's like a unique name. It's like there's only one of them, right? You don't even think that. Like, when do you ever think there's only one of that one person, right? You don't ever think that. So yeah, I guess I confused the two and I combined their records a bit. So they do have a similar record, but I still think, especially I guess if you look at the other parts of the record, like where else they're fighting out of, what kind of competition they've had. Honestly, LFA is not bad. Anytime you see LFA, it's not too bad, but he's only been in LFA a couple times, one time. And it's against Marlon, some random Brazilian guy. Might as well have been a freaking random Brazilian freaking league, you know? Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Farid because Gene, how old is he? 26, 5'6", 68-inch reach. Versus, yeah, I mean, Farid's like a scale. He's like a tick scale up. He's a slightly larger man, and he's just probably better. He has his man strength by the, well, 28. Usually more like 30-ish, 31, 32 is when it really sets in the man strength. But 28, it's more set in than it is at 26, right? So, yeah. In this bantamweight bout, I'm choosing Farid via decision as we move on up the card to Michal Olejniczuk versus Marc-Andre, the power bar or some such, and Barrialt. Yeah, I'm choosing the younger guy, and like I mentioned about the other guy, what's his name, Dustin Jacoby, Andre's kind of like a tough man in a sense, just a little bit more fragile. And I just don't think he's gonna get this one. He's a tough guy fighting out of Canada, but 17-10 record. Marc-Andre Barrialt. Look at this. I mean, he's losing to Shara, Bullet, the guy with the one eye. You're losing to the guy that can't even see you coming, and he's still beating you, man. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine if Justin Gaethje lost to that guy with one arm, right? Freaking one arm. How the heck you gonna lose to that, man? But I mean, one eye's different. One eye is a little bit different than one arm, I would say. Two arms is better than one eye. Wait. Wait, what? Hold on. Is that what I mean? One eye is better than one arm. Yeah, that's what I meant. God dang, thoughts and such are so hard to think. But yeah, that's why I'm gonna choose the other guy, because he's younger, he's hungrier, he's a KO. I don't want to call him a KO artist, because like I don't consider his fight style to be artistic. Like if you KO people, you have an artistic looking art style or fight style, then yeah, you're a KO artist. But if you're just knocking fools out because you have power, he's strong. He's strong. Yeah, I think that's why he winning, because he's so strong. But he also losing to Shara. You know, Shara's not bad, but still, like, he losing to a guy with one eye, man. Dang, that's so crazy to me. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I picked Shara both times too. But anyway, we move on up the card to one of the most boring men in the entire freaking league, the entirety of MMA, in fact. Jailton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev. And I'm choosing Rizvan more because I'm not choosing Jailton. That is mostly the reason I'm choosing him, but also because Rizvan did pretty well against Curtis Blades. He went to a split decision with Curtis Blades, who a lot of people think Curtis lost. So this is a new guy who had only one fight in the UFC, short notice replacement to fight Curtis Blades, who's very good in my opinion, and he basically beat him. So, and he's fighting out of Russia. So yeah, I think he's gonna take this freaking Jailton boring ass. Boring, dog. This guy's so freaking boring. 22-4. This is gonna be the most boring 22-26 fights you'll ever watch in your gosh darn life. I promise you that, man. This freaking boring. Look at his face, is boring. He taking a picture, he look freaking boring. You boring as fuck, bro. Like, my god, man. I'm so glad he lost against where's the thing? Let me refresh. I think the table is a little bit messed up there. There we go. Alexander Volkov. He went to a splitty with him. Good freaking decision by the judges there. He was just on top, putting his head on freaking Volkov's chest the whole time. Like, my guy, if you want to do this, you know there's something called Grinder, right? I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't use it. But I think that's what it's called. Without the E on there or some such. But yeah, that's why I'm choosing Rizvan, because he went to a pretty good decision with Curtis Blades, and Jailton freaking stank ass bitch. I try not to use that word when they're real people and not Chat GPT, but he's a freaking bitch. God dang, Jailton. So boring. They need to get him out of there. He needs to not be in the UFC, in my opinion. This is a prize fighting, brother. You ain't fighting for no prizes. You fighting for that man's freaking heart. Putting your head on his chest like that. As we move on up the card to Amir Albazi versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Hi, arigato gozaimasu. I'm definitely eating ramen tonight. Maybe. I love ramen. But yeah, let's see. Amir. You know, Amir's a boring kind of fighter, I feel. Yeah, I mean, he's not exciting. Let's not call him boring. He's not boring. He's just not an exciting fighter. I think he's pretty good. I mean, he's fought in the UFC more than Kyoji has, but he does not have the freaking record of Kyoji at 35-5. Kyoji Horiguchi. This guy just has too much energy. They're fighting at flyweight. Like, what's Amir gonna do? You gonna knock him out? Doubt it. What you gonna do? You gonna submit him? Doubt it. He's too fast for you, bro. And he's just gonna skeet on your face all around with his punches, I mean. You know, skeet. You know, but he had a good win against what's his name? Tagir Ulanbekov. I actually picked Tagir, which is insane. I'm so glad I didn't pick him on this site because we're log in. Let me log in so that we can I need to use 2FA, two-factor authentication, so we can see my picks on my profile as I do. There you go. And look at profile. Here we go. We only have 2 events because there have only been 2 events this year, and MintedMMA.com just released just before UFC 324 in January, and we're barely in February. So yeah, here are my my picks. Yeah, cool. What was my point? My point was that I picked a gear. I don't know why I picked that guy. He got freaking easy worked, man. Like, Kyoji just played with that fool the whole time. But anyway, yeah, I'm picking Kyoji this time. He's just gonna play the game, and he's gonna make Amir tired, and he's gonna submit him in round 3. That's what I chose. As we move on up the card to, wow, it's the main event of the evening. Mario Boring Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. Now, I was so leaning toward Vinicius. Like a couple of other picks, I pick against certain people. It's true. I just do it. And I was gonna do it here. I was gonna do it against this freaking born Mario. It's a me, Mario. Like, freaking boring ass, man. His fight style sucks. It's boring as shit. But he's a decent fighter, you know. He lost his last one against the Nurmagomedov, which is understandable. But like, yeah, I mean, he beat Patchy Mix as well. It's just like, he's so boring, dog. And this is a bantamweight bout. I just don't see like either of them knocking each other out. Vinicius, people are saying he's so talented. He can KO people, but he gets KO'd himself. Like, he's gonna probably feel Mario's power. Mario does have power. I'm not saying that Mario doesn't have power and that he's not good. I'm saying he's boring. He's a freaking boring fighter. He's not like Jelton though. Like, he actually has legitimate skill. Jelton sucks freaking wiener. But Vinicius, I think he is good. It's just, and I was gonna pick him because I think he's good. But I don't know. I just feel like Mario knows how to play the game better than Vinicius. He has a better record in terms of who he's fought. Look at Vinicius's record. He's only fought freaking like 3 people. Tyler's okay. Saeed's pretty good. And that's not one of the Nurmagomedovs, right? He's one of the other ones. As I mentioned, I guess I talked about it earlier. It's a common name, Saeed. So that's not like a real Nurmagomedov. And Mario lost to a real one right here in Umar. And I think getting that kind of experience and wanting to get it back, he's going to out-hustle Vinicius for a decision. I think that's what's going to happen. And this has been the entire card. Yeah. UFC Fight Night, Bautista versus Oliveira this Saturday, February 7th. Check out mintedmma.com. Dope website. You can make your own picks. It's completely free, of course. You know, you can save your picks into the dang thing and check out like breakdowns in the breakdown section. And we also, it generates a PDF as well. If you want to go to the bottom and write your own notes on this PDF, print it out, do whatever you want. Look at this PDF. How freaking dope is that? What other kind of sites are doing this? This is free. No, just dope. So cool. And so are you. This has been Coin. You have been you. This has been my picks for UFC Fight Night. Bautista versus Oliveira. Don't forget to leave some comments down below. Join Minted MMA. Sign up today. And deuces.